How powerful would you feel if I told you that the world's fate is completely in your hands? This is exactly the case when it comes to recycling. My specific purpose with my speech is to persuade you guys, the audience, to adopt sustainable practices by emphasizing the importance of recycling. I want I want you guys to understand the environmental impact of recycling and be motivated to incorporate recycling habits into your own daily lives. Taking care of our earth is very important no matter where you're from or what you believe in. Recycling is like joining an organization that is working to preserve the health of the earth. It's not simply just about dumping stuff in a bin, it's bigger than that. It's a task that each one of us can contribute to with our small deeds day to day to create a brighter future for us and our planet for generations to come. First, I want to talk about the reduction of landfill waste. Um, as stated in a 2023 article from a How Stuff Works Science article by Ed Grabianowski, recycling prevents a huge amount of waste from building up in landfills, even up to 60 million tons of garbage from ending up in landfills every year. That is very beneficial for the environment. As waste decomposes, landfills where we often dispose of our trash can contaminate land and water with hazardous materials. Also, by creating new landfills, we are consuming valuable land that could be put to a lot better use than that. Recycling reduces the need for additional landfills. It's it does a really good job at helping the decomposition of waste from releasing harmful gases into the atmosphere. Next, I want to talk about the conservation of our natural resources and how recycling helps. Natural resources are essential to life and human well-being, but unfortunately, these resources are put at risk by the increasing problem of plastic pollution. Plastic waste ruins our ecosystems, destroys biodiversity by contaminating soil, water, and the environment. The effects include reduced water quality and depletion of the priceless resources used in the manufacturing of plastics. In a 2023 article released by the NIH Environmental Management System, they speak about the various ways of recycling benefits the environment, and one of the biggest ways they mention is how recycling does a really good job at reducing the waste of natural resources. They stated that recycling does a really good job at reducing the use of natural resources by reusing materials. They say recycling saves non-renewable resources. For example, by not recycling paper, 80% more wood will be harvested to meet growing paper consumption demands. Additionally, recycling recycles metals, and that's very beneficial. Recycling metal helps the environment since it reduces the need to excavate new materials. The next thing I want to talk about is how recycling helps energy savings through material use. Another huge benefit of recycling is that it saves a lot of energy. In a 2022 EIA article, they mentioned that making a product from recycled materials almost always requires less energy than is required to make the product from new materials. And they say an example of this is if you use recycled aluminum cans to make new aluminum cans, since you'll be using 95% less energy than using the raw material aluminum is made from. Lower energy consumption helps combat climate change. Reducing energy is also very important to reduce climate change, since it reduces the burning of fossil fuels, which produces greenhouse gas emissions that warm up the planet. Reduced energy use, particularly from non-renewable sources, can help us lessen our carbon footprint. Implementing energy saving practices such as upgrading insulation and using energy efficient equipment can also contribute to cost savings and sustainability while helping in the struggle against climate change. Next, I want to talk about how we can incorporate recycling into our lives. Firstly, I would advise you to start educating yourself and your close ones, since it's very important to spread a message about what recycling is and what it does for our community. Spread the message I am sharing with you today around the people in your community. And you can do this in a variety of ways, but one of the most powerful ways is through social media. With the help of social media, we're able to make big changes in our government and a lot of the ways that our government addresses certain issues. If we as a population choose to push tax support to companies that employ sustainable recycling initiatives, then there will be a significant increase in helping our planet. With this power, we are also able to push responsibilities for corporations who don't manage their waste thoughtfully, to reduce the harm that they are causing on our environment. It's important to educate yourself and others about the importance of recycling if you want to raise awareness about this issue and make a real change. Using social media to spread this message within your community is very effective. Also, by banding together to advocate incentives for businesses that use sustainable recycling methods, we can influence lawmakers and hold businesses responsible for managing their waste in an environment and not an environmentally friendly manner. You can also try as a community to increase the number of easily accessible recycling locations. This involves promoting and advocating for the establishment of easily accessible recycling centers in our communities. Encouraging more people to participate in recycling can be accomplished by making sure these facilities are easily accessible. We can make recycling simple and widespread for everyone if we have more of these locations. Next, I want to talk about collaborating with businesses to establish recycling programs. In order to promote sustainability, there has to be a change in a way that a lot of the businesses, since they play a huge role. Working together with businesses to introduce workplace recycling programs is more than just reducing landfill waste, but it also helps share awareness about the environment amongst employees and employers. Studies have shown that companies save money and share a common environmental commitment through these initiatives. For example, H&M has been very successful with their implementation of recycled materials into its manufacturing. In a 2023 article written by them, they talk about how in 2022, about 1.4 kilotons of offcuts and scraps were gathered from garment production factories and sent over to recyclers to be turned into other materials. Next, I want to talk about the lack of awareness. As I mentioned, social media is one of the most powerful tools that we as a population have access to, and we can use it to make a lot of changes in our world. With this power, I believe it's very important to use it to implement educational campaigns across the country to educate people about huge matters like this. Once people are educated about the matter at hand, it is important that we have clear and nearby information and or resources to carry out recycling themselves and start doing it as a community. There's a lot of convenience issues. We should strive to make recycling very convenient to everybody at all times. Recycling should be